Hello, my name is Khadidra. I am a student at Grand Canyon University. I am working on my master's. I am currently enrolled in the program of my Master's of Sociology with the emphasis in education. I am doing this video to talk about planning effectively in higher education, the difficulties that may happen with effective communication in higher ed, best practices to use when working on a project team, and one or two ways that you can de-escalate a situation when a disagreement occurs. One of the reasons that I think it is very difficult to have effective communication in higher education is because it's so diverse. And it's a very flexible option for a lot of people. You can go online, you can go traditionally, you can do both, call it hybrid. There's just so many ways now that you can go back to school and continue your education that we haven't quite really sat down to actually figure out how to communicate within all these new aspects of being able to go into higher education. I know now during COVID-19, almost everybody is choosing to be online, hybrid, or if you do want to go in class, of course, there's social distancing that you have to take, but there are a lot of things that can really make any type of communication difficult in higher ed, from students, learning and knowing how to connect with their instructor, and their instructor giving out valuable information to them that they may need. It's just very difficult to communicate as humans together. So, especially when you have higher education and you have a lot of people that come from many different backgrounds, many different cultures, just not, especially when you don't really have like a blueprint for why you're communicating in this way or how to effectively communicate. When you don't have those things, it can be really difficult. But one of the good things is that there are some things, especially when you're like working on a project, that you can do to help effectively communicate in between that project, and also use those tools to take elsewhere. One of those first things that you can do is, number one, is meet regularly, which is have consistent times that you guys meet, whether it be once a week, twice a week, or however many times you need to meet for this project. Just have that consistency, and everyone just needs to make sure that they show up and be there. Because when you're not there, then you miss out on a lot of information. It's kind of just like school when I was an undergrad. It was just like, if I went to night school, it was like once a week, but if I missed that one class that week, the next week it was like I missed really 3 or 4 weeks of information because I missed one night of class. So when you're not in your meetings and you're not showing up and being present, it's a lot of information that you can miss out on. Two is being inclusive. And being inclusive just means really including everyone that is needed or involved. And if you really aren't sure if they need to be involved, just go ahead and invite them anyway, because having more than a few inputs is better than no inputs. So just invite whoever you feel needs to be a part of the project, or who can ever bring valuable information to that project, and just being consistent on those bases. The third one is really being transparent, clear, and concise. So one way that you can really make your meetings flow and work well is keeping an itinerary. You may assign a timekeeper, or just like or see if you have a secretary or somebody that can do that. But it's just really, the itinerary just kind of lays out what this meeting is for, what we're going to talk about, and what our desired outcome is going to be. If there's any unfinished business or new business that other people need to talk about, you have time for that in the itinerary. And that way your meeting is structured. You have an idea of where you're going. Everyone has an idea of what's going on with the project. No one's missing out on anything. So just really being transparent, clear, and concise on what you want, and not wasting your time or other people's. And lastly, just really showing respect, being very respectful to others. Even when you're putting out your opinions, or when you have questions, or if you're just really unclear about something, just always try to come in a respectful manner, a respectful tone, and just really appreciate, even if you don't like what they're saying, just kind of appreciate that they're putting their input in and being validated for that. Now, sometimes we do have disagreements, and one of those ways that I kind of think that you can de-escalate a disagreement is really just both people being calm and just talking in a calmly manner, about what the other person's issue is, or what the other person wants or needs, and really just asking those open-ended questions, not closed-ended questions, like not questions that end with a yes or a no, but really more open-ended questions, because you can get a lot more information out of an open-ended question. And not only that, it also makes the person feel like, hey, you're actually listening to me. You're listening to me because you're trying to understand where I'm coming from, and you're not just listening to be in response of what I just said, or to be defensive if you don't like something that I said. So always being calm, being respectful, talking in that way can always help de-escalate situation. And if you two just really don't get along, or just the disagreement is just not, it's just what it is, then both parties can just come to agree to disagree and work on a compromise from there. I think those are the best ways to de-escalate a situation. These are good practices to use when you're working on a project team. And also just always being mindful that there's a lot of information that goes on in higher education. So sometimes it's not always up to other people to give it out to you, but it's also up to that person to go and look for those resources or the information to just stay updated and current with what's going on in your community, in your projects, and anything that you really do. My name is Khadidra, and I thank you for this video.